Hello everybody, welcome back to my Flosstube channel, which is a channel all about cross stitch. My name is Rosanna. This is Flosstube episode number 28, and I believe I just passed my 2-year Flosstube anniversary. So I've been at this for 2 years now. Hard to believe. But I am deep in the throes of the Christmas season and Christmas stitching. I just set up a little tree here. I'm wearing my Christmas swan and my Santa earrings. So I'm all decked out. And this episode, it has been over a month since I did my last regular Flosstube, so I have a lot of stuff to show. So why don't I just dive right in. I'll start with my FFOs, which are fully finished objects. I'll start with a small one. So I fully finished Pumpkin Pincushion by Jeannette Douglas Designs. Turned out really, really cute. I love it. I already had this base, and I don't know where to get them. I wish I knew. It looks similar to a jar lid, but it's a little bit different. But I do think a jar lid would work, like a larger one. But yeah. And I watched a pincushion tutorial. It wasn't really a cross-stitch pincushion tutorial. It was just like a regular pincushion, just very basic how to put it together, and it worked out great. So you cinch the back of it, you stuff it with polyfill or whatever, and then I just glued the whole thing in here. And it's very secure. I think I do need to get some decorative pins to put in here to match. That would be fun. But yeah, I just used DMC for this. The original chart was overdyed floss, but I pulled DMC. Okay, so my next one. So this is the Gather In by Plum Street Samplers. And obviously I didn't do the entire chart. I cut it off down here at the grass, and I also decided I didn't want to do any of the words. I didn't want to do the banner at the top. I didn't want to do like all the little names that were in here for the horse and the girl and everything. I just decided I wanted it just to be a picture. And I am very happy with how this turned out. This is a thrift store frame. And I framed it as best I could. This fabric did get a little bit warped because I was stitching in hand for almost the entire thing, and it definitely got a little bit warped. But overall, I think it looks good. I'm happy with it. And yeah. Yeah, I have a couple of other Plum Street patterns. I have another one that has a really big house. So I don't know, I'm kind of deciding, do I want to do that? Or am I satisfied with just having this one? I don't have to decide right away, but I like them. They do take a really long time because these houses are so big. But this is an 18 count Ada, and I did it with DMC. All right, my last FFO is a Jingle Ball finish. So this past weekend was a Jingle Ball. It was a lot of fun. I did 2 of the classes this year. I didn't do any classes last year. So this year I decided I wanted to try that. I picked 2 of them. I did Hello from Liz Mathews Snow Globes, and I did Janine McGowan the Blue Flower Carousel. So I finished 1 snow globe. Here it is. So that's what they look like on the back. And yeah, this turned out really cute. I would definitely like to make some more of these. Basically, she gave you a wide assortment of these small winter stitches, and you can just kind of pick and choose like whatever combination you want. So I did 2 houses and I did a big tree because I was just like, okay, well, it's a little woodland Christmas village. And there's a little bit of like artificial snow down there. And then I just hot glued that bow to the front. This jar I just got from Walmart. It was like $2.50 in the craft section, because I think it's better to use a jar specifically for like crafting because it doesn't have an insignia on it. It doesn't have a logo of any kind. So I'm really happy with this jar. I got the big one because I stitched this on a 28 count Charles Craft linen. So they ended up being kind of big, and this was the perfect size jar. So I'm really happy with this. The class was a lot of fun. Yeah. So I don't think I really have anything else to say about that. I had a great experience doing that class. And next year I would hope to do some more of the Jingle Ball classes. I thought they were great. So that was all of my fully finished objects. I don't think I have any just regular finishes. So let me move on. I'll do whips. While we're on the subject of the Jingle Ball, why don't I show you my carousel animals? So I'm not quite finished with them, but I did make a lot of progress on them. So I think technically this might be a new start. Last video, I don't think I had any of these to show, but since I'm so far along, I'll just show them as a whip. So the pattern for the Jingle Ball class came with, I believe it was 8 animals. I have 6 of them pretty much done, minus a little bit of backstitching, and then I've got the rhinoceros started down here. There's 1 more animal after that. And then since my carousel is a thrifted one, it actually has space for 9. So I am going to stitch one of her Christmas freebies to take that 9th spot. So I have 3 more animals to go, even though there's just 2 more in the actual chart. But okay, let me try to give you a closer look here. So I would say I made great progress on this in the last month. I did take this one with me traveling over Thanksgiving, so I made a fair amount of progress then. But I'm just going to keep on plugging away at this until I get those animals finished, because I would really like to start assembling the carousel before the end of December if I can. I decided I'm gonna wait till I'm finished with the animals to cut the fabric, just because if I cut the fabric, it's gonna make it harder to fit it on my hoop. So I'm keeping it all intact until they're all done, and then I'll do them all at once. So yeah, that was a fun class too. And that's a really great pattern. Those animals are really cute. Obviously it's not available yet. I think it will be next year as a general release, I would expect. So yeah. Oh, this is a 20 count Ada. It's Zweigart. It didn't have a color on the package. It's just kind of this seafoam green, but it was a great choice for this. I think it coordinates really well. And I'm using 2 strands of DMC on a 20 count. And this isn't very stiff, so that's been working out okay. All right, so that was my second Jingle Ball class. Now I'll get into True Whips, works in progress. Okay, so I worked on Christmas Elegance by Mirabilia. Looks like this. I started this last year for November. So this has been a whip for a year. Very big project. I'm keeping it in a Christmas bag that I made. I do have a picture of where I was. I'll insert it here. And now I'll show you where I am. Basically, I have been working all over in this area. So here she is. Yeah, all this stuff, I want to say over here is pretty new. Yeah, I love her. This is one I'm tempted to just make a focus until it's done. I mean, obviously if I did that, it wouldn't be done until sometime in the spring, but I love this one. I want to see it finished. If anyone's curious, this is the type of stand I use for a lot of my bigger projects. Yeah, the top of it goes up and down so you can adjust it, and it's just a lap stand. So I have 3 of these. I really like these stands. I don't know if they're made anymore. I found all of mine thrifting. Okay, so Christmas Elegance, that is a 32 count Brandywine Lugana from Needlework with Jim on Etsy. All right, let me look at my list. Other whips. So here's another big one that I don't have a lot of progress on this. This is Merejka, Paris Evening Deja Vu. I am in this area with the table. I'll put in a before picture here. And here's where I am. So I didn't make a lot of progress. I was really focused on doing those carousel animals, so a lot of these whips kind of went to the back burner. But, you know, I just got to keep at it. Keep at it. Eventually it'll be done. I switched out the Ada for a 32 count Lugana, which I think was the right choice. I am enjoying this fabric. For this kit, I can use the Fantastitch app. That's a really good app. I'm not having any trouble with it. It's very intuitive. And I believe that app was developed by Merejka for their kits, and I just requested the digital version from Merejka through the app, and that worked. All right. Okay, let me do, this is Christmas Cat by Satsuma Street. Here's what the full thing should look like. And then I'll show you where I was, like at the beginning of the month, or the beginning of November, I should say. All of this is like late October and November stitching. So I'm keeping it in this bag. This is not a Christmas bag. It's like a New York State themed bag. I made it. It's really cute. It has like all this New York stuff on it. So yeah, at the beginning of November, I basically just had the cat's head done. And now I have most of the cat and then half of that window. Well, half of the tree. And this is tiny because I'm doing it 2/1 tent stitch on a 28 count Monaco that I dye myself. So this is going to end up being like half the size of what it would be if you did 2/2 on a 28 count. I just decided that it was a good pattern to try out, like tent stitch on a 28 count Monaco, and so far I'm happy with it. I've decided that that isn't really my favorite way to stitch. Like, I do prefer to do the full cross, but you know, for a smaller project like this, I think it's fine. And it's going to be so petite, I could probably even just turn it into an ornament or something when it's finished. But yeah, that is Christmas Cat. That is my only whip by Satsuma Street. And I mean, ideally I would be able to push through and get this done by the end of December. I don't know if that's going to happen with all this other stuff I have going on. All right, then I have Lantern Lane by, well, let me grab it. Okay, this is Lantern Lane by Little House Needleworks. I'm sure you're familiar with this. This is a very popular pattern. And I am keeping it in this Christmas bag that I made. I am using the called for over dye floss for the most part. I think for the black, I'm just using regular black, and the white, I'm just using like a crew or something, but the rest of it is the over dyes. Sorry, this one is not ironed. It looks kind of bad. So pretty much I just got the house with the windows started. My goal is to get that all outlined so I can just have it to fill in when I'm watching TV. And yeah, this is 40 count Affogato linen by Fiber on a Whim. And you can see I have another little project started down there. This is actually a summer project. So I have 2 projects going on this fabric because this is a fat quarter, and these are pretty small patterns. So I was like, I may as well just do 2 at once. that was Lantern Lane, yeah. And I'm using 1 strand on the 40 count. Okay, I'm trying to think if there are more whips or the rest are new starts. I think the rest are new starts. If I happen to find a random whip, oh well. I have a lot of stuff piled around me right now. Okay, so new starts. I had 2 new starts from the Jingle Ball. One of them is the Midnight Santa Stocking by Teresa Kogut. So once again, both of these, I don't think they are generally available yet. They will be at some point. But anyway, Midnight Santa Stocking. Yeah, I just have a small start up there in the tree. And I just dyed this fabric myself yesterday. It's a 32 count mystery linen. So I just dyed it kind of like a dark background. I used charcoal Rit dye and eggplant Rit dye. And I am happy with it. I think it's gonna have the right kind of rustic look for this style. This fabric is also, the stocking is really long. So this is a big, like, rectangular, like long rectangular piece of fabric. I mean, I'm lucky I had a cut that was big enough to just dye it. I didn't really feel like buying anything new to do this one. And I'm gonna use DMC, and I'm doing 2/2. My second Jingle Ball start is one of the Animal Crackers by Stacy Nash. It is Sugar the Skunk. And you can see this is the skunk's tail, and there's a little bell hanging from his tail. So that's what I was able to get done. I was working on this during some of the meet and greets at the Jingle Ball. This is a 40 count Silver Moon by Zweigart linen. And I'm gonna use 1 strand except for the black, because I think I'm gonna get better coverage on the white background if I do 2 strands of 310 instead of 1, and so far that's fine. It hasn't been, you know, too stiff with my needle or anything. I pulled floss from my stash. Some of them are over dyed, some of them are DMC, and I'm gonna do 310 for the skunk's fur. It called for like Weeks Dye Works coal or something, but I kind of like it just as straight black, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm really racing through these. Okay, new start. So I think that was the end of like all my Jingle Ball stitching. I did buy a lot of patterns, but I don't think I'm gonna start any of the other ones immediately. I did have a small start on, this is called Jingle Bell Sock, and it is from the most recent issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. That is a great magazine. I bought a digital subscription a few months ago. You get access to all of the back issues when you do that. So yeah, there's a lot in there I would like to do. And a lot of them are like on the smaller side. So that's kind of nice just when you want like a small project. But But anyway, this is from the issue that just came out. It's called Jingle Bell Sock, and it is by Shakespeare's Peddler. So I just have a little bit started up in the top. That is some of the greenery up there. And I just pulled this fabric from my stash. This is a 32 count Wishelt. And honestly, I forget what the color is. But it's something that I already had. And yeah, I think it's gonna look great. So I would recommend that magazine. I really enjoy looking through all the back issues. And everything. All right, I have so many Christmas ornament kits. I would really like to just do some of them. I pulled this one. It's called Wire Whimsy. Ice Skate Whimsy. This is one I had found thrifting a while back. It's stitched on perforated plastic. The previous owner had already got a little start up here. I have stitched the bottom of the ice skate. And yeah, hopefully I can just keep going with this until it's done and get it on my tree. Yeah, I have so many ornament kits and a lot of Santa ornament kits. And it would be kind of nice maybe just do one of them like every month, and then I have a little collection to put on my tree. That's a little ambitious. I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but yeah, this was missing a couple things. Like it didn't have the wire to put on the top, but obviously, I mean, I have a lot of wire. I can just substitute. But it had the thread, it had the perforated plastic, and I think it's going to be very cute. Yeah, this is a Dimensions brand. This one is from 1994. Wire Whimsy. I have a couple others in that series. Oh, just dropped one of my papers. Okay, so I think that's probably the end of my new starts. Oh, really quick, I'll give you a little update about my carousel stand that, you know, I had showed in my Flosstube 27 that I found a revolving pipe holder at a thrift store. It was really beat up. I can probably put a picture, a before picture in. This is what I'm using for Janine McGowan's Jingle Ball class, the carousel. So I refurbished it. Here it is. I can't really tip it because these things are not attached yet. But I could probably insert a little video that shows it a little bit better. But I also painted the jar lid. So it's looking a lot better than it did. I found these little half spheres at Michael's, and they fit over the holes in the pipe stand perfectly. So once I have my animals done and I get all the magnets attached to these little hooks, I'm just gonna glue these half spheres to the top. And I think that'll be great. So yeah. So that's why I need 9 animals instead of the 8, because I have like 9 spaces where originally there would be pipes. Tobacco pipes in that stand. All right, I guess I will transition. Oh, I had one new start. Sorry, I totally forgot. One more new start. I started my very first needlepoint. This is a Dimensions kit. It's called Santa and Toys Stocking. I found it at Goodwill. And it was complete. It was opened, but it was complete. And there's not much to see here, but this is my first time ever trying a needlepoint. So here is where I am, up here in the blue area with the snowflakes. And I'm actually stitching this in hand. I opted not to use the stretcher bars because I can stitch this faster if I stitch it in hand using the sewing method. So, and yeah, needlepoint, I never really understood needlepoint until actually trying it out, because, you know, I knew that there are very, very expensive hand-painted needlepoint canvases out there. And I was always sort of like, I wonder why those are so expensive. Like, what is it about them that justifies the cost? And this is not a hand-painted one, you know, this is like a mass-produced one. But I'm definitely understanding now why it would make such a big difference to have a hand-painted canvas, because you can get like a level of detail with your stitches. You know, it's really cool, because you're basically picking the color based on like where you're crossing over. It's hard to explain. Actually, I could link a little tutorial that I had watched that helped me understand this better. But I'm definitely getting an understanding of what needlepoint is all about now. And I'm excited to work some more on this. I don't think it's ever going to replace cross stitch as like my #1 hobby, but so far I'm enjoying this. And yeah, doing a Christmas stocking seemed like a good idea, because one of the things that, you know, I was a little hesitant to start a needlepoint is just because they're so big. It's like, I don't know what you would even do with the finished piece, because if you frame it, it's going to be huge. I would be more inclined to turn it into like a pillow for a sofa or something, like a regular size pillow, because they're so big. But for a Christmas stocking, it kind of doesn't matter how big it is, because it's only up part of the year. You kind of want them to be a little bit bigger. So when I found this needlepoint at Goodwill, I was like, okay, this is the one I want to try. And I think that's finally like the end of my new starts. Okay, let me transition into Save the Stitch. This is going to be mostly Christmas, with the exception of one thing. And I actually have to go grab them because they're hanging up. Some of them are hanging up behind me. So I'll just pause for a sec and I'll go grab those. All right, so my first Save the Stitch is going to be the only one that is not specifically Christmas. This is actually an antique sampler that I found at an antique mall over the Thanksgiving holiday. So here it is. So down at the bottom, there is the name Nancy, and there's the year 1861. And as you can see, it is a house sampler. And there are some sheep there. And I love this fenced in area. My hope is to chart this myself and stitch it. So I think I'm finally gonna bite the bullet and get some charting software. I do need to take it out of the frame because, as you can see, some of the stitching is cut off. So you can't really see the entire thing in this frame. And this is not a good frame either. So I'm gonna have to carefully remove it. There is no glass. But yeah, I don't really come across samplers like this. And I do a lot of antiquing, but this was a pretty unusual find for me. So I was really happy to pick it up. I'm very excited about it. So, and I love that red house. I think this would be just a really fun one to chart and stitch up. These things over here, I mean, I guess they're topiaries, but they kind of look like fountains too. So I don't know. I'm gonna play around with it and just, yeah, see how it goes. This is stitched in wool threads. So, a genuine antique. Okay, now the rest are going to be Christmas. I will start small. So I had posted these to Instagram a couple weeks ago, ornaments. These are beautiful. They're stitched on perforated plastic, and they have beads. I think most of them have at least some beads. Whoops. I'm getting all tangled up here. There's a house. You can see the beads if you look that way. There's another house. And then there's a few more. Oh, so the story is that I inherited my grandmother's Christmas ornament collection. She had a lot of, oops, that's the back. A lot of really cute ornaments from the 60s. These were in there. My grandmother did not stitch, so I think probably a friend of hers had made these for her, but I don't know who. But anyway, I got them in that ornament collection, and they are beautifully stitched and beaded. And they're not backed with anything. So that was kind of interesting. Like, you don't really have to back them if you don't want to. They still look good. So I'm really happy to have these on my tree. I did an image search to try to figure out where these came from. I wasn't getting any hits, so I don't know. I'm thinking probably some older book or magazine, but I'm really not sure. So those were the ornaments. Here's a small Prairie Schooler Santa that I found. And yeah, I'm not sure what kind of fabric this is. It's a larger count, either linen or Lugana. It looks like a Lugana of some kind, or even weave. But he's really cute. I love that sunflower. I found this for a couple bucks at Goodwill, so I just like, I want to incorporate it into my Christmas decorations. Yeah, the back is like 100% tape, but that's okay. Very, very cute. This one is on perforated paper. Merry Christmas. This is in a beautiful frame. It was professionally done. And I think I have the name of where this came from, actually. Let me see. Oh yeah, so this is from a leaflet. It's called Prairie Yule 2 by Stitches from the Heartland. So that's a vintage leaflet. So I love that one. I love crescent moons and Santa as the moon. I'm always drawn to that. Yeah, if you're curious, this was the 1994 Santa. That's what I have written down. Okay, I've got one more small one, and then I got two big ones. This is a banner. It says Joyous Noel. You can see up close a little bit. The border is stitched with the 3 bands here. And then the letters have holly. It looks like this says 83. So that's older than I thought. And then they use these brass attachments at the top and the bottom to weigh it down a little bit so it hangs nice. The back, it looks like there's some kind of tape on there. This is stitched on a, looks like probably a 14 count white Aida. Okay, let me do the 2 large ones. These are actually Cruel Embroidery. They're from the same company. Let's see. This first one is called Home for Christmas, and it is by Sunset Stitchery. It was a kit from the 80s. Yeah, this from a distance looks absolutely incredible. All the shading in that red. It just has such a visual impact. I love this. So yeah, I'm not really interested in learning Cruel embroidery myself. Because close up, I don't really like the way it looks close up. I love the way it looks far away. But I don't think I'm, you know, I'm in over my head, you know, trying out needlepoint for the first time. I don't think I'm gonna go down the Cruel embroidery rabbit hole. Okay, this is another big one. It's the same company, Sunset Stitchery. This one is called Christmas Tree Fantasy. I found this a couple of years ago. Yeah, this one I found a couple of years ago. The wreath, Home for Christmas, I found that maybe like 2 weeks ago. But they're the same company, the same kind of like era of crewel embroidery. Yeah, this one, some of the toys down here are a little on the creepy side, but they're really charming, you know. They're just that older style. So I enjoy having this up on the wall at Christmas time. It looks like the tree itself, like the green part is printed, and then everything else is added on top of it. So yeah, it's really colorful. It's really fun to look at, especially from far away. So those are both from the 1980s. I was looking up those kits on eBay. They're kind of expensive. I think they're kind of hard to find. You know, if you want to do one of those. And I just remembered I have one more Save the Stitch that I forgot to grab, so let me go grab that. Okay, so while we're on the subject of needlepoint, because I just started my first needlepoint stocking, I will show a finished needlepoint stocking that I found. So this is a beautiful horse, and so this would have been similar to the Dimensions one I showed you, where it's like a printed canvas and then you stitch based on that. They backed it with red felt, which, I mean, maybe that came with it in the kit. I don't know. I couldn't really find much info about this. I think it's called Bright Poinsettias from 1989, but that's all I was able really to determine by the Something Special company. But I love this horse. I think she is so beautiful. There are metallic French knots embellishing a lot of the green areas. So, yeah, I have a couple of other, well, you can't really see them. There's one stocking hanging up. I have a cross-stitch one over there. I actually showed them last year, so I'm not going to show them again. But I kind of like decorating with like secondhand stockings. It doesn't bother me when they're this beautiful. You know, I will hang it up. But yeah, there's that one. So that was Save the Stitches Christmas edition. I think the last thing, well, I'm gonna do haul. After that, there is a 5-minute clip I will insert of, it's like a montage of finished stitches that I saw out and about. I just took a bunch of pictures and strung them together. So if you don't want to see haul, you could always just skip to the last like 5 minutes or so if you want to see that montage. But let me do haul first. I don't think I really have that much. I'm not going to go over all of the Jingle Ball patterns I bought because a lot of them you can't really get right now anyway. So, but I have found some other things. So when I was traveling over Thanksgiving, I found a couple of gold petites. I found this one. Believe in Santa. It was complete. Yeah, that would be a fun one to start at some point. I also found Tide View. So this one's not Christmas. This is a beach one. I love that. I found this book. This is actually a Mill Hill book, Beaded Cross-Stitch Treasures. You can see over here, Mill Hill. There's a lot of stuff in here. Beaded projects, beaded and cross-stitch combined. And yeah, this book is not very expensive on the secondary market. So if you like that beaded style, like here's an example, like these baskets, really pretty. So there's a lot of small beaded projects in here. I was happy to pick up that book. Yeah, like there's a sheep. And then on the back you can see some of the others. So I'm the type of person, I have a lot of beads, so I can easily kit these if I want. Okay, one more sort of like thrift store find, and then I'll do like a few online purchases. But I found a giant collection of Krynic thread. Some of them are the thicker ones, but then some of them are the ones you can use for cross stitch. There's a lot of green. So I don't know what the story was with this. I was kind of like, wow. I wonder if there were other colors donated and they already sold or something, but I definitely grabbed this. There's a lot of gold in there too, but I think I'm set for green. So that was exciting. I couldn't believe it. Oh, and here's a random, I don't know, needle made designs. This is, I don't know what the name of this is. It's called Scottish First Footer. Look at him. That's kind of great. I don't know if I would stitch that, but it was what? It was 50 cents, and I was just like, okay, I'm going to put it in my stash because it's just so unusual. All right, now let me do online purchases. There's only a few. So I bought a couple of things from Stephanie, Cross Stitch the Globe's Etsy shop. So she was destashing a bunch of Mirabilias. I picked up the Siren and the Shipwreck because I didn't have this one, and I would love to stitch that. Yeah, I wonder if some of those green Krynics might come in handy with this. And then she had this French pattern in her shop. It's from 2009. Yeah, the designer is Mon Ami Pierre. I've heard of them. I believe they're out of print, but I love these ornaments. I would do them in, I don't know. I'm kind of deciding, would I want to do it in like a green variegated? Would I want to do red and green? But there's so much detail in these beautiful ornaments. So I grabbed that from her shop. And then I had a few other online purchases. There was a shop that was like going out of business, so everything was 50% off. I did check And right now that shop is closed. So I don't think you can get anything now, but it was called Double Cross Stitcher. So I got one of the Lindy Stitches patterns, Spring Forest scrapbook. I love that grasshopper. Really cute. Pansy patch. Spring quilt barn. I love Pansy patch. I do have a whip of theirs right now, the Mistletoe Manor. This is Erica Michaels berry patch, so it's 3 different berries. Yeah, I thought these would be good. You know, if I want to do a small, for a smalls exchange, I can make a berry, something like that. A Farmhouse Christmas by Annabella's Needle Art. I love a farm theme. And yeah, there's a larger pattern and then there's smaller ones. They're all really cute. This is the Primitive Hair Tree Farm. And then Kathy Barrick, Morning Tide. So I bought this because it's an oval. I have like a bunch of oval boxes that I think I might be able to use this to put on top of one of them. I don't know. I haven't done the measurements yet, but that was my thought process getting this. And then I had an eBay purchase. I think this is the last thing. This is a Panna kit. It's called County Fair. Yeah. I love anything with a fair theme, and this one is at night, which I especially love cross-stitch kits that are nighttime. So yeah, when that popped up on eBay, I had to grab it. I think, you know, once I finish Paris Evening Deja Vu, because this is a very similar sort of style to that, whenever I finish that, you know, 3 years from now, I'm going to do the county fair. All right, I just want to make sure I didn't forget anything. I don't think I did. Okay, so at the end here, I am going to tack on that 5-minute montage of some of the finished stitches that I saw in my travels. And other than that, I'm not going to be back for another video, probably until January. I'm not going to do a 12 by 12 this year. I did one last year. It was a lot of fun. But to be honest, I don't think I've actually finished anything from that first 12 by 12. I mean, I made progress on a few things, but I don't believe I actually finished one of them. So I decided I'm going to hold off. I'm not going to do a 12 by 12. I think I will do something like special for New Year's Eve stitching. I might have a new start or something like that, but I don't think I'll make a whole like video about it. So with that in mind, I will catch you in January. And until then, happy stitching. Bye.